right. Well, here we go. Hello, folks.
Hey, Bear.
Howdy.
Welcome to Folkland. We are your folk ladies. I'm Brandi.
I'm Jacy.
And I'm
Jen. I think we're really your lady folks. Maybe lady folks, folk ladies, whatever.
Lady folks. Yeah.
We'll let the folks decide.
Yeah, you decide, folks. Put it in the comments. We want to know.
Because I know everybody cares a lot. So
yeah, this is exciting.
All right. So it's good to see you all again. It's nice to see we've done a little shaving since last week.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? Forgot I had a beard.
I had one hair.
I'm a woman. That's what's real
That's
here.
so funny.
Yeah, yours washed off.
Yeah.
It actually was very hard. I had to scrub it for quite some time with the washcloth, and it was pretty painful. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, did you
right.
ladies enjoy this week's episode of Nateland?
Comedy
Yeah.
and
Comedy and
Kerricatures.
Kerricatures,
Is that how you
episode
say it?
122. You want to kick it off with a rundown?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's do it.
All right. Hey, Bear! In episode 122 of Nateland, Comedy and Kerricatures, we don't have to exaggerate our brush with fame as the guys welcomed comedy legend Kevin Nateland to the table. Breakfast, also known as Edna Mode, gained some ground in light of his non-standing ovation through the remorse of some of those who attended his dry bar taping. Aaron suffered from both dry socket and a cold shoulder over the weekend at his shows. Nate reminisced over his Nashville Zoo phase and plans to do a hike with that SNL alum guest sometime. And Dusty was totally MIA through the whole episode. And yes, that M stands for missed.
Yeah, free Dusty.
Good.
Hashtag. Yeah, first of all, I know we're going to get into this before we get to comments, but I thought it was hilarious that anytime somebody is gone, Nate has to say something like they're dead or in prison. It's like my favorite.
My kind of humor. Yeah.
He goes, he's locked up.
Nothing made me as happy as hearing Aaron was in jail. That's for sure.
Yeah, I liked that.
Yeah.
That somebody started questioning Christianity.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
That's what he said.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot. Sorry.
Jen's like, wait, somebody did that on Nateland?
Well, because, someone posted in the Facebook group recently a little mini folk feature for you. They were like, as a non-Christian, sometimes it can be hard to watch. So when you said that, I was like, wait, there was more drama?
Yeah, but sometimes as a Christian, the rest
No.
of the world can be hard to watch. So it's nice that we have our spaces.
There goes her sermonette.
Also, sometimes as a Christian,
I'm done. It's over.
sometimes as a Christian, Nateland is hard to watch. Like today, when they bleeped out Kevin Nateland.
Yeah.
Did
I
anybody
think-
catch that?
I think he did really well, and he behaved himself really well, and he got fired up for that one part.
He did classify himself as a clean comedian, which I thought was hilarious when he cussed later on.
Yeah, right. I guess that term is very
Good.
loose.
Well, it means that you shower, basically, which is also rare among comedians. So
That's true.
Zing.
They're busy fellas.
Yeah.
They're on the road a lot. And ladies. Those ladies are busy too.
but they're cleaner. That's true.
All right.
No, I'm just kidding.
So we have some
Yes,
comments.
yes, that's what I'm
Yes.
excited
Give me some
about.
comments.
All right, so I found a comment. Geez, I can't remember where this was now. If it was YouTube or the Facebook group, but Carter Gwynn, I hope I said your name right. I laughed so hard when I read this. They were like, did Bates lead with asking Kevin for an autograph or did he wait till after the show? And then I just thought about the fist bump at the end, which we could talk about, but I thought that was hilarious. And I was waiting for him to say, as we get into the episode, but I was waiting for him to say, how far can you throw a football when Kevin was talking about football, but he never did it. And I was like, come on, Bates.
Missed opportunity.
They were unusually quiet, Aaron
know.
and
Yeah.
Brian, which happens when they have a big name like that.
Yeah.
They're normally more
Yeah.
backseat. But what I did love was when Aaron tried to explain to Kevin Nealon that it's a bit for Nate not to understand music lyrics, and he kind of goes into it, and Kevin's like, yeah, I get it. So, yeah, I'm like that, you know? And you just see Aaron's face go. Like,
Yeah, I definitely think they were a little bit
Love it.
nervous because he's a big name, and I could tell Brian was like he had his notebook, and he's like, "Tell me about this story. What about this story? What about this story?" And I was like, "Simmer
Well,
down,
you
back
gotta
off, Bates,
love
back
it.
off, Bates." yeah, like that.
he goes, actually, I happen to know that your birthday is April 27th, and you were born at Memorial Ridge
And
Hospital.
Kara goes, "I was."
Your mother was wearing a purple sweater. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a comment from a notorious Folkland fan, Rusty. That's my drum roll. He said, "You're back, baby." He's missed the podcast. He said, "You guys did a great job. Nothing against Matt and Chad. I miss those guys too, don't we all?"
Yes.
There was a better feel to the podcast, though. I didn't know the next sentence, so that sounded unintentionally sarcastic. It moved along, and it appears that there were notes taken for the episode. Sorry, Mace. Thank you, Rusty. I think the length was just about right.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jacy, Brandi, and Jennifer, which I really don't like to be called Rusty.
Oh.
You put a smile on my face.
Now everybody's going to call you
I
that.
look forward to watching the next one.
Oh my gosh, he
All
might
right.
not like the length
All
after
right,
tonight, but who
everybody.
knows?
No, we're going to do this. We are good. We're professional amateurs.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't my first
That's
rodeo.
true. That's true.
It's at least
OG.
my third.
Ha.
All right.
All
Let
right.
me get into this. This is kind of a big topic. Bonnie Paraguay brought up the idea of calling the guys band, B-A-N-D. She said, okay, so my favorite term for having seen each of the podcast crew is a band slam. Brian, Aaron, Nate, Dusty. But I also think we have to acknowledge if someone went to see each of them individual versus seeing them all in one show, like in April, perhaps, adopting Google Speak, I would call seeing them individually as organic band slam. Doing it organically has to carry some extra weight, in my opinion. The others might be an express band slam or band slam. Thank you, ma'am. So anyway,
That was
it's a
a
great
lot-
topic.
that was a lot
We
in
haven't
there.
discussed it yet. It was, and
All I can think of is when Nate said, "I did the band." Sorry, like that's all I can think of this whole time. Don't you guys remember
I
that?
remember
not
that.
now.
He said the band.
Oh man, he said you could call it the band, and then you could say, "I did
Oh,
the
yes.
band." And I'm just thought maybe we shouldn't call it
At
that.
the
Yeah.
I want to give credit to Chris Minat, who
Minute-
said, I
Minat,
think
maybe.
came up with Minute, who
Sorry.
said, how about band folks for people who have seen the podcast members live? And I don't know if she or he, Chris, I don't know if it's a he or she.
It
I
is a
don't
he.
know.
It's a he.
I
Yeah.
apologize, Chris.
I've seen him
We've
around.
seen, we've seen him.
My apologies.
He's
Chris.
around. He's around the group.
I
yeah.
like this, and I just wanted to give him credit then for
He
having
gets
come
around.
up with the idea of that. So,
Yeah,
what do you guys think?
Yeah.
You like it? You
It's
think
nice.
it'll stick among the folks?
I think so.
I don't think Nate would ever allow breakfast to have
Oh,
top
yes,
billing, but
yes.
I don't think he's realized that's what's
This
taking
is what
place.
Chris pointed
either,
out, and I
so.
thought it was very funny. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think Nate knows what's going on. So
Not yet.
Clearly.
not yet. Once he
learned-
finds out, he'll be furious.
Yeah. Well,
I still don't know what's going on in the part of the podcast where they talked about Kevin Nealon calling him and being like, "When's the podcast, man?" And he was like, "I don't know. Did you call my people?" And he was like, "I just realized you're not stuck up. You just really don't know what's going
Yeah.
on." I was like, "Oh, I relate to that."
Yeah, Nate was
I
like,
really
"Let's just do it right
relate to
now."
that.
Yeah.
with as much effort as you guys put into this, I would be that person today. I would be like, I have no idea. You got to ask these folks.
That's okay.
We all have our days.
That's what.
So,
in other words, they're doing a good job, folks.
In the theme of this week's episode, comedy.
What's that you got back there,
Brandi?
Brandi?
We really don't have to talk about this, you know, the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. But
Oh my goodness. Are you stalking me? Did you take a picture of my face? Because that just looks just like me.
Yeah.
That's the Mona Lisa? Is that what you're saying?
I'm
right
saying,
there?
Wow.
Wow, look at that. You guys get it? You get it? That's what Nate said to do when you go to the
sorry. Yeah.
Louvre.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
What? The Louvre? The
The
Louvre?
Lavori. I believe it's Lavori.
Oh,
Don't
sorry,
say the
Louvre.
Lou. The Lou is
Don't
something
tell-
else.
Don't tell our special guest
Yes, we have a special
who
guest.
will be with us in a moment.
All right. All right.
Is
We have.
inspired by this episode.
Yes.
Quite the caricature.
Everybody,
Get
All right.
it?
give up a Folkland welcome to
Let's see. Is he there? Hey, Kerr! Hello, folks.
Welcome, folks.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Can you hear me okay? I'm
Sounds
great, thanks. Thanks for having me
All
on.
right.
Folkland.
Thanks for
This
coming.
is awesome. So, yeah.
All right.
Hey, I'd just like to point out the great timing of how this all happened. I didn't even share this with you, Kerr. I messaged Kerr personally a long time ago to see if he could make a Nateland inspired birthday card for me for someone. And he got back to me kind of late, but when you got back to me, Kerr, these two crazy folks were saying, we should have Kerr Smith on the podcast because he draws all those caricatures.
Yes.
I kid you not. It was like perfect timing. So,
Right.
so
Well,
glad you're here.
thank you. I apologize again. I'm blaming the metaverse.
Okay.
That went into my Facebook other realm, other folder. So I
the
apologize.
metaverse. Ugh.
It happens often, you know.
So I just saw it. Yes, that was great timing because I just saw it yesterday, and then we started chatting. So this worked out
Yeah,
awesome.
well, thanks
Well,
for giving us your time.
I'm thrilled. to
Thanks
have
for
you
doing
here.
this podcast. It's awesome.
And I'm an art person, so I want to say that since the beginning of our time with Folkland, I believe your name has been in the pool for somebody that we should highlight as a folk feature. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here, and I see your awesome artwork behind you.
Are we calling that awesome today? All right.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. So we have a couple of
Brandi,
Go ahead, Jen.
I was just going to say she's one of those reluctant artists that's like, oh, I'm not really that good, but then it's like amazing
Yes.
art.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I get it. I get it. She's humble.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Thanks.
So, Jacy, were you about to say we have some
was.
questions for...
I was going to say
Here.
that and then point it back to you.
Cool.
So go ahead.
Well, I beat you to it. So we were curious, Kerr, how did you get involved with Nateland? What's your Nateland origin story?
My origin story. First of all, I like Free Dusty in the background. That's fantastic.
We need justice. We need justice.
So, yeah, so I guess like most people, I first knew about, I love stand-up comedy. And first, I think saw Nate with, like many people, I imagine, on the Netflix stand-ups special,
Yeah.
whenever that was, a few years ago. And so after that, it was just, obviously fell in love, thought he was hilarious, and just kept following from there. So everything after that, I just was keeping track of, and was so excited to see they were doing a podcast. And yeah, it's pretty simple, but yeah, I saw him on late night and all those things, and then knew of the other guys a little bit, and then saw the cast, and yeah, that
Yeah.
was it.
The way you talked about Nate just then reminded me of how Nate talked about watching movies where he talks about such a great actor, and he literally said what you said. You fall in love, and you're like, man, I just want to hang out with that guy.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. My story is about the same too. Actually, some friends of ours shared, Nate with us, with my husband and I. And then on my own, like I'm home, geez, sorry, I'm getting excited. I'm I'm home with the kids, and life gets crazy and stuff happens, and like his comedy really is just like refreshing. And so I became
Yeah.
obsessed, and I became probably a bigger fan than our friends. And so tomorrow night, we actually are bringing them to a Nate show. We're like, come with us because it's you're the reason why I'm even doing this. So it's so cool, and just the
Huge.
community that it's built is pretty fun.
It's really cool. You say, I imagine we're all the same. That my family and friends call it CareTube, and that's when I inundate them. Not like I'm like, have you seen this? Have you seen this? And just send them and
Yeah.
sit them down. And so I hope I'm responsible for a few folks and to be turned on. But I get that way. I get really excited when I find something I love and bother everybody with
That's
it
fun.
until they finally watch.
I like that.
Well, you have a good
So,
niche with
I
your
have a-
awesome artwork.
Oh, it's been a blast. Everyone's been so nice. So.
Yeah, how'd you get inspired to do the art for Nateland? When did that start?
Well, I've been listening from the start, and then in the spring I was just doing more graphic design and illustration, and I mean they're characters anyways, or they're caricatures anyways. So I was just listening and just decided to do a couple of posts with their caricatures, and did the first one that was just of each individual fella, and then. I've always loved comic strips and Far Side and all these
Yes.
types of things, and so I mean, and all their episodes go off in so many different directions, and they have such unique personalities. I was like, I think after I did that, and then bless them, some of the guys liked it and shared it, and the podcast shared it, and then I was like, man, you could do so many different scenes with all that they're talking about, and I just had an idea from one about how, it's kind of like the Seinfeld where you saw two storylines that could kind of cross
Yeah.
over, and then I'm like, well, what if we put all four in one frame, and then it just kind of went from there. So it was just fell backwards into it, just from the love of the podcast, and thought it'd be something fun to do.
They make me laugh. They make me laugh
Amazing.
all the time because it's like, oh, I forgot about that joke, but then I see that Kerr, drew something, and so I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta ask if I could put this on Batesville. This is amazing. So I
Yeah.
just
Absolutely.
It's kind of now it's becoming like a fun challenge to see like how obscure a reference, and then I love seeing people's comments that are like, oh, the clipboard or whatever, and
yes.
almost like a Where's Waldo, like kind of search for the one line, because
Yeah.
it could be one line in 2 hours that I thought was funny. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
People pay
They
attention.
do.
I noticed you
It's
didn't
kind of
take my
expected every week
request.
now.
I had the request of Rapunzel with the lady in the long hair. I did not make a drawing, but okay.
I know there's been a little tipping point here where now I'm like disappointing
Oh,
people
no,
that I don't
not
put
at
in.
all. We look forward to
I
every
apologize.
week.
I know. Well,
Welcome
Listen, I could probably do 4, 5, 6, 7 pictures from each episode. There's so many
Oh,
little
yeah.
things, so it's tough to get it all
Yeah.
in there. But
I was gonna say, welcome to the challenge of stardom in a podcast group
sorry.
where you didn't really expect people to care, but hey, here we are.
everyone's love.
Well, we do want to be a little demanding and ask if you can draw us something during this episode and share it with us. Maybe it could even be your creation for this episode.
What do you say?
Oh well, I mean,
Maybe.
I would.
Is that
I
reaching?
can say, I'll give you a yes and a no, because yes, I can draw something. Then no, because it takes a while to get all of that. We would. I don't think you have enough time on this podcast. We'd be here for hours, but I could definitely do
People
a
will
sketch
be
of.
mad at us.
Yeah, maybe I can do. It's given its breakfast birthday. Maybe I can do a sketch for Brian.
Oh,
Perfect. Happy birthday.
birthday
Bates.
Bates. We love him.
Yeah.
Well, while you're getting started, what do you think are your top 3 Nateland episodes?
Good question. My brain doesn't really work in the way of like I remember everything from an episode, because I like all the different stories. I mean, the one that pops to mind immediately is the Greg Warren episode with Jif and
That was
Yeah.
so
Pringles
good.
and stuff. I must have
Yeah.
Just the banter between them. I must have put that back like 20 times to watch some of the moments in that. So that one stands out as like a whole episode. But I love so I like like different parts of different episodes, and I couldn't maybe because the show could be about aliens and they're talking about heaven knows what for 60% of it. So, but any of the stories, like I remember like John Reap's story of with the football field.
Yes.
Nick, I remember Nick Novicki with the van that
Oh my
crashed.
gosh.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh! I made my
that
people
was
watch
great.
that clip.
My mouth was like, the whole time. I was like, what?
It just kept getting better and better.
I was going to say worse and
Oh,
worse, but I guess
love
it
it.
depends on your perspective.
Since
So,
you know that
yeah,
everybody
so
was
any of
okay,
those-
it was better and better.
Absolutely, yeah. And then so anything, you know what? The thing I love most, and it helps me out most, is when they get off into like. There was one episode where immediately I heard, who would last longest in prison or do the best in prison, and then when they go through, so then it gets into they're all picking on each other's different unique personalities, and all what they're into, and so when I hear something like that, I'm like, yes, there's a scene for the background of the cartoon,
Yeah,
so when they
sure.
kind of go off into. Or the how to survive an elevator fall, you're immediately like, oh, that's a gem.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Man,
so I don't know the
loved
exact.
when- Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say.
No, go
you
ahead.
made
Go
me-
ahead.
You made me think of this long lost Jim from Nateland when they talked about who's gonna drive the getaway
Yes.
car. Brian would be back in the house baking
Yeah.
cookies, cleaning
Yeah,
up
with the food.
Just keep him out of the way.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Those are for sure my favorite parts because it just brings their personalities to light and all their habits and quirks, and that for me, especially with doing a drawing, that's just gold because you can play
Yeah.
off of all those.
It's the
So,
stories,
Oh,
right? It's like
Jerry.
telling a story visually.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, and Nate is in particular. When you watch one of his specials, he's very good, a very good visual storyteller.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Yep.
absolutely.
Yeah, I love it.
absolutely.
Well, you guys.
I'm not
wanna
sure.
get into this?
Maybe I can try and.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can share something here.
Oh,
If you can
okay.
see. Let's see if I
Excitement.
can do this. I don't know how it'll turn out on the podcast. You guys can let me know. If you can
It's
see
funny
my
if we
screen.
say this and it doesn't turn out well, and then just
Oh.
nothing ever happens.
Something's
Can
happening.
you see a big white screen?
We can.
We can.
Okay,
You did
cool.
it, Kerr. You
All
did it.
right.
Just
Ah,
don't
let's
Hey,
send
see.
Bear.
an email.
Here we go.
Yeah, exactly. I
All
had to
right.
make sure I went through all my windows before I opened this up.
All right. This.
I
So
love
I'll
the
just-
contrast
You do your thing
of
here.
this and then Brandi's caricatures in the background. It's real good.
So I'll just sketch away for a little bit, and then
Awesome.
yeah,
That's Brian. I can tell
Yeah.
already. That's
Oh my gosh, he
Brian
has
for
it
sure.
down. It's like muscle memory now.
Yeah. Oh, this is super
All
fun.
right.
I'll have to.
So
I'll
this
probably make
episode-
everyone a little dizzy because I have to turn the screen and stuff. So apologies to anyone
I'm not
watching.
gonna watch. I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
So it was fun having Kevin Nealon on this
Oh my
week.
gosh, he's a riot.
Yeah.
I remember watching him when I was a kid. Probably things
Same.
I shouldn't have watched.
Yeah.
Yeah. hmm
SNL, you know.
Yeah.
It was really funny. Well, it wasn't funny actually when Aaron talked about his wisdom teeth, like when getting those out,
Yeah.
because he didn't have any interesting stories.
Oh, no. No.
He did have the
But I
interesting
did-
story about his wife. That was funny. Talking about her under anesthesia, and he was disappointed that he didn't create any. I did get dry socket when I had my wisdom teeth taken out, and it was painful. It was 20 years ago. It was before smartphones, and it was on a weekend. It was when I was a newlywed and did not have the internet. It was terrible.
Oh my goodness. I would have thought I was dying or something.
Yeah.
I just get like a big diva on anesthesia, just keeping this brief. The first time I had surgery, I woke up and they were like, "You got to drink something because you have to pee or you can't leave." And first, I didn't like them telling me to do things, and so she was like, "What can we get you to drink?" And I was like, "You're crazy. You want me to stand up?" And like, I just said everything she said was crazy. I was like, "I just had surgery." And then she asked me, "What do I want to drink?" And I said, "A vanilla Coke." And she said, "Honey, I don't think we have
Bougie,
that." And she said, "I'll get
excuse
you a
me.
Coke." Yeah. Look, this was my God honest response. I said, "Ugh, okay, fine." To a Coke. And so apparently this go round, when I had surgery a couple months ago, I woke up and the lady asked me what I wanted to drink, and I died laughing, and I told her the story, but she didn't get it, and she thought I was asking for vanilla Coke. And so she was like, "We don't have that."
You probably
And I
heard
was
it
like,
one
"Oh,
way in
never
your head and
mind."
it came out your mouth in another way.
That happened a lot on drugs and off them.
Yeah.
So she gets
I,
anesthesia and she goes full goddess. That's how we know.
That's how it sounds like. I had all four out
That's a nice
at
way
the
to
same
put it.
time, and I did not have anesthesia. I was in
Oh,
this
gosh.
old school dentist with an office with an old school dentist, this older gentleman, and
Dusty's
he
favorite.
numbed me, and yeah, it was very dusty up in there. I remember not being able to feel anything, but feeling the pressure of him tugging because I'm awake. And
my
he had the pliers, and I thought he was going to put his foot up on my chest and start yanking to get that thing out. He asked me if I wanted to see at one point, showed me a mirror of what it looked like underneath my gum.
This guy sounds like a quack.
Well,
Yes, please. I've been waiting to look this whole time. You should have asked me sooner.
He's like that dentist that as you're going under anesthesia, he goes, "Okay, how do I do this again?"
Yeah.
He's like reading a book.
Ironically, my daughter is scheduled next week to get hers out, and I'll be taking her to a bigger city to do it, where they will put her under. But listen to this: she has 7 wisdom teeth.
What?
Oh, that sounds like
Seven.
a bad-
Yeah, 7.
Yeah, that's weird.
She's
She's really wise.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, a little.
I've
wisecracker.
never heard that. That's amazing. Wow.
She has extra, and
Hey.
we just paid to have braces put on the kids' teeth. So
Whoa.
we decided we didn't want to risk messing up that beautiful smile. So we want to get these things out of there before they cause some damage.
Mhm.
Yeah, get the teeth out, and that's less
Yeah.
teeth to cover with braces,
Yeah,
right?
well, I
Makes
mean,
sense.
they might start messing up the good that the braces did.
No, I know what you mean.
All right.
It's just a bad joke
What-
that didn't go
yeah.
well. So, did you guys have breakfast bites this episode? Because I have one,
Oh.
since we're looking
Go ahead.
at
You
breakfast.
do yours.
Well, look, this is all I got.
Right.
A breakfast bite that went unnoticed. They were talking about Bigfoot, and he said he's a foot guy, like in the background. Nobody got it. So good.
Yeah. I thought he said not a Bigfoot guy. But
He's not a Bigfoot guy.
because
Oh,
I
well,
thought Nate said something.
way to poop on my breakfast bite, Jason.
I just
This changes everything.
Batesvilled that. Yeah, sorry. No,
We gotta find out that now, though. We gotta go back and watch
because
it.
I didn't catch it the first time around, so I could be wrong. But
I'm interested to see. Comment, folks. Who's right? Who's
Ooh,
wrong?
yeah.
JC, do you wanna
Is
tell
it-
us your
is it
favorite
either of us?
breakfast bites from the week?
he really didn't have too many, to be honest. I mean,
Slow week.
yeah, I think it was just. It's not what he really said, like a specific thing he said. It was like him being breakfast. Like, okay, not like an actual one-liner, but we got to talk about him having his own headlining show and then being asked to give up the table and move over with his box of merch. Because that was my favorite thing of the episode. I loved the whole thing, but I
What?
just pictured him just getting up with his box and just like sitting down holding his box. Hoping that guy...
Take your box and
Well,
go
he was
home,
hoping for
Brian.
some validation from this guy he's been trying to seek validation from for years. And the guy
Yes.
goes, "Hey, Brian, can you just
Okay, wait.
get up and get rid of this, give up this table?"
I never related to Brian more than in that moment
Yeah.
of the pod, because I had a director for so many years in theater, and he was like this old guy. He just didn't have a lot of warmth and compassion. You know, one of those real artists, genius artist types.
He's not
He'd
watching
always
this,
yell at
so
you.
go ahead.
No, never. He doesn't have the internet, and so he really loved this guy that I was engaged to. He really loved him, but he really didn't love me, and it really got under my skin. And I turned into this desperate, like, dopey, you know, don't you think I'm funny? And he'd be like, he'd walk away, you know, or I'd be like, wasn't that great? Was that a good performance? And he'd be like, you know, you really, and then he would just say the one thing that I did wrong, and it would just like, ugh.
I know, and poor Brian, but you
do know.
Yeah. I mean, and then him just getting validation from Kevin a little bit. Like, he's just like, what about this? And what about this, Kevin? What about this? It was so endearing.
It's like when Kevin talked about how he introduced his friend to James Taylor, and then the friend became like best friends with James Taylor. Y'all, it reminded me of my Nateland origin story. So fast forward, rewind. Back to like 2017, I was on a road trip. I listened to Nate Bargatze for like 10 hours. His Yelled At by a Clown, all that stuff. Because my friend told me about it. Then I never listened to him again for like 2 years. And then a friend was like, hey, I watched this podcast, Nateland, you should check it out. And when they showed me Nateland, well, clearly now like I have a whole podcast about it, right? So I really took off with it. Met the guy, did all these things, and this person's just back here like, what? I even like made them take notes about it to help me with Folkland. They're like, you turned it into a job for me. I used to love it, you know.
We take our folk
good times
serious around here.
Yeah.
So I had one one line that Brian said that I loved in the episode, and it was when Nate was very like transparent about his non-knowledge of music. He said, I had 2 records. I had Elvira record, and I had one Michael Jackson. So Kevin was like, okay, that's a good start. And then just like that, Brian jumps in with, are you saying the Oak Ridge Boys or Mistress of the Dark? And I about 9.
That one was just...
So he's talking about, like, back in the day, the character Elvira, right? Is that what he's talking about?
No,
like, I have no idea.
Album was the Oak Ridge Boys, which I don't know why, but now they're mentioned on every episode of Nateland. Dusty mentioned them last.
What are you talking about? I literally never heard them come
I have no idea.
Pretty popular. I bet if we went to IMDb or Google, we would see that little arrow saying they've increased in popularity. People are probably trying to figure out.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, Aaron. Why don't you pull it up?
Oh my gosh. Listen, I am Puerto Rican, so I don't know anything about this, but it's just a different.
Elvira, my heart's on fire.
No.
I don't know that, but what I'm more surprised about is that I cannot picture Nate Bargatze listening to Michael Jackson at all.
That's true.
I just...
It's true.
He was real serious about it when he listened.
He practiced the dance moves and everything by himself in his Lion King shirt.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Kerr, you're real concentrated there. I love.
I know. I didn't want to jump in and I didn't want to jump in and interrupt. I'm enjoying listening, and hopefully you guys, hopefully you can see us okay, and it looks all right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's looking real good. I'm loving the squirrel.
Yeah.
Terrifying Brian. It's very on point for Brian.
Yeah.
It
All
does.
right, cool.
Yeah.
Brand.
Oh my gosh. So I actually, when they brought up Dane Cook, it reminded me of a story of BC before Christ, you know. I saw Dane Cook at an arena because they were talking about comedians at arenas and stuff. And I saw him in Boston, and it was like sold out. There were so many 20-somethings there. And he had the biggest following ever. And it was crazy. just how they turned on him so quickly. But obviously, you know, his material was, you know, what it is. Stuff we don't listen to now. But
There wasn't a lot of substance.
well, here's the thing about Dane that I thought is kind of rare. He has that charisma. And so, like, he was really good at commanding, like, the stage and, like, telling stories, even if they were really, really raw. And I just thought that, I think he's coming back now in comedy, I guess. But I thought that was very sad how, like, he literally sold out arenas. I was at a show, and then in such a short time, that all stopped. And it's just something I think comedians think about, you know?
Yeah, I don't remember why people turned on him. I remember the big height of stardom. I remember, like, my sisters watching his specials, and we watch them. I remember seeing him in movies. You know, it was a pretty big deal, and then poof. And I don't know why people hated him, but I just know he disappeared.
Same. I have no idea.
I know that I've heard before. Sorry to interrupt, but it was interesting. I found what Nate said about, and it kind of got passed over a little bit about. It's almost hard when you get that big. And I've heard some other comedians talk about that. You know, knowing your stories, it's like bands, right? When you're selling the albums out of the back, you have all these stories when you're selling out of the back of a van. But nobody wants to hear about your mansion or your awesome life. And that's, you know, kind of some of the struggle is part of comedy or music and all the rest of it. And so it's tough to be as funny when you're as big. I heard Dane Cook talking about that on another podcast. It was almost a kind of a revolt as to just how big he got, as they mentioned with the Rolling Stone, praising him one month and then attacking him the next month.
Yeah,
I think that I
think
heard
that's
Jamie
part of
Foxx
what
speak
makes-
on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the same kind of a thing.
I think
Well-
that's what makes Nate so successful is that he's the polar opposite of that. He's so relatable. You know, I mean, he talks about, man, it's a struggle to get to church. Like every other person in America, like, you know, or Canada. Sorry. I don't want to assume.
Now,
I'm in Canada.
yeah. Can you tell us this, Kerr?
That's-
Have you ever gotten to see any of the guys at a live show?
No, I haven't actually, and but I hope to. So I live in near Toronto, and but my brother lives in Nashville, so I'm down there all the time. So I'm hopeful to catch a show at Zany's sometime and
Wait.
looking for. Yes,
April 15th. You got to be there.
I'll be there.
Yeah, April 15th. You should probably.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, I'm there.
All right.
So
We'll
no,
all
I
be
haven't,
there.
I haven't seen anybody live yet. It was, but I don't know if anyone caught it. It was like 2 episodes ago. But Dusty said they mentioned Canada for a minute, and he said Guelph, and he said, I don't know if that's how you say the name or not, but I've been through Guelph. It's this tiny little town. That's where I live. So it was kind of neat to. I missed Dusty. I don't know when he came through,
Man.
but it's such an
Dang.
obscure kind of reference. It was kind of neat to hear him say that way up here. So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then they name the next episode Kerricatures. You think that's your ballpark, and then they just talk to some other guy. What's up with that?
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Come on, guys. You really blew
That's
it.
what happens.
You blew it, buddy.
Yeah.
I was
They
expecting
like
them
to
to
tease
talk
you a
about
little
our
bit.
costumes. They didn't tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, nothing we do is going to make it on there, guys. I'm telling you. Nothing. I've tried. I gave
I should
the
have
man.
Sorry, I should have said when you asked favorite episode. Obviously, the Canada episode is so
Oh.
far above and beyond. But
Oh, yeah.
after
We
that,
wanted to ask you about Graham K because he was on the Canada episode, I think. Have you ever seen him?
I haven't seen him either. No, but he was great. He had a lot of nice little nuggets about Canada in there.
Yeah,
That's
he's
awesome.
funny.
I saw he and Nate together.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I actually didn't know too much about Graham K until that episode, and have since obviously become a big fan. So
Nate.
He's all right.
Well, any other points of
Okay.
the show that you ladies liked? Oh wait, first of all, sorry, I was just gonna say.
Okay.
I know I'm bulldozing you, Jen.
Go
Sorry.
ahead.
I'm gonna
I
base
do
this.
it. It's fine.
So yeah, Nate talking about the Hitler movie was hilarious. He talked about it so long,
Great show.
long. Oh, that was okay. This is the other
Inspirational.
one-liner when Brian says it's a feel-good movie.
Yeah.
Because he was
Breakfast
like
bite.
a breakfast bite. Because Nate was talking about it so much because he was praising the actor, but then he started talking about Hitler and the story, and it was so funny.
You know, I loved JC that when he talked about that method acting came up again because his method acting rant about Jared Leto was my favorite thing when he's just like, "Brr, brr, brr, brr."
Yes.
keep him in a cage away from the other actors.
That was
I
the
just
best.
loved it.
Yeah.
I want to just share with you one little quip about that. So acting, method acting, right? Like it's not really something you really see that much. So I do understand what he's saying about how strange it is. But I did have this role one time in a show called The Bad Seed, and I was the mom of a child serial killer, and I literally had to like break down on stage and scream and do all this crazy stuff, and I just was like, man, I don't know how I'm ever gonna get there. But I found it one night. But what cracked me up the most was the little girl who played the serial killer bullied me backstage, and she said, boy, you really are Christine, which was my character. And I'm like, she's the mom of you who's like awful. So I don't understand how that's an insult. But I was like, man, that girl, she was not method acting. That was real. And I hope she sees this.
She's probably going to be
She's-
extremely
That's
famous.
funny.
Yeah. She'll tell that story on a late night show one day.
Yeah. She'll be like, this washed up old bat has a podcast about a podcast.
So
are
I don't
are
know
you done?
if that's okay. If it looks all right, I think I'm
Yeah.
Looks great.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, it's awesome.
right
What's
on.
your inspiration here, Kerr?
The War of the Squirrels, obviously.
War of the
Look at how
Squirrels.
happy he is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bravo.
I love it.
bravo.
Where's the applause?
Sorry.
You're the one with the applause
track.
button, Jen.
Hold on.
No, I'm not. It's JC
Oh, it
tonight.
is? JC. Make it
Okay,
happen.
sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
this is terrible. People are
We're
watching
working.
this. All
We're
right.
working this. We're figuring it
Do
out.
I stop sharing this then? Is that the best thing to do?
Oh, yeah, you can do that.
Oh. Well, thank you for letting me do that.
Well, thank you.
You're
That was
welcome.
awesome.
All right, there we go.
Thanks for coming on.
We're glad you
Oh,
came on.
right.
Kerr, you got any shows lined up for this weekend you want to tell the people about?
Do I have any shows? Well, I'm gonna watch The Stranger, and no shows.
All right.
Well, why don't you let us let the folks know where they can follow you on the socials?
Please.
Oh, yeah. So thank you. I got a website, Kerr Smith Creations, and Kerr Smith Creations on Instagram. That's about it. Same on Twitter and so on. And thanks for asking before about my name because I get everything from Kerr to Car to. So I just always say Care Bears. I usually get people that say, "You mean Carrie?" And I say, "No, I know my name."
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I
Apologies
know my
for
name.
getting
That's
it wrong
good.
a
That's
little
good.
too, but we'll try.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
we
not
were-
at all. No, not at all.
We were definitely going to say Kerr, just
Yeah.
so you know. We
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm glad that we got that
All
sorted out.
right.
My parents get it.
Well, ladies
Your
and
parents.
special guest here, I think that about wraps us up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Goodbye, folks.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Bye.